Hey Strength Faction, this is Coach Mike coming at you with just the tip. Today we're going to talk about setting up and performing the bench press. Seeing as we're doing a shitload of that this cycle, this is very appropriate. So the first thing you want to do is, if you are able to, you want to adjust the rack so that when coming off of the rack, we have plenty of clearance, but we also don't want it too low to where you're down here or something to rack it up. All right, so we want to be able to unrack it almost extension, right, and then be fully extended, come back, and come on down. So first, let's make sure the bar is at a good spot for us. As far as where we are on the bench, I like to set up so that the bar is right above my eyeballs, right? So be here, and then right about here, right? So the bar is right above my eyes, and I'm almost extended here, but full extension brings me about 2 to 3 inches above the lip of the rack here, right? So that's a good clean setup. That's going to allow you to come in and out of the rack, not expending too much energy or putting yourself in a bad position by being too low. Let's talk about grip. Width varies, right? So I always use the knurling on the bar to make sure that I have an even grip. I go about a thumb's distance off of the inside knurling, which brings me just a little bit outside shoulder width. Right, so I'm usually right around this wide. Generally, if you want to get into details of width, it's more comfort, and then how you're going to work your chest, right? So obviously, the wider you are, it's going to be a little bit more isolated, and it's going to feel like more chest. The further you come in, we're recruiting a little bit more muscle going on there. So I like to be just a little bit wider than shoulder width, and then also when I grip the bar, I want to get that wrist as straight as possible, right? We don't want the bar sitting on the palm, kind of like the heel of the palm, right? And breaking the bar as I press, right? So as I come down, right, if I'm coming back up, I'm going to break the bar this way. That's going to make sure that my shoulders stay in a good, healthy position, and that I get my back involved in the lift as much as possible. All right. So let's get down to some other points here. So with our feet, now it's not wrong. You know, you'll see people bench press with their legs off the ground. You'll see people bench press up on their tippy toes. That's not necessarily wrong, but if we're talking about recruiting as much power and stabilization as we can, I like to have a nice flat foot. If you do not have the height to do that on your bench, you could put yoga blocks under your feet, you could put plates under your feet, but give it a shot with a nice flat foot and see how much of a difference that makes for you. So as we come up, I'm actively pulling the bar straight down to about sternum height, just under the breast, under the chest muscles, and straight up. So once we, if we're racked and the bar's directly above the eyes, as we go to work, we're going to bring the bar over the chest so that that bar path is nice and straight. You don't want to be here at the top of your press and pressing in that J motion, right? We want to be over the chest, which might take a little bit of getting used to, but if we have a nice straight bar path, that means a shorter bar path, which means stronger pressing, okay? So bring the bar out over the chest, breaking the bar, and then actively pulling the bar down to my chest. is going to get me in a nice setup position. Think about a slingshot, right? We're pulling back, creating tension, and then releasing that tension up into the bar here. All right, so it's nice straight down bar path, actively pulling, breaking the bar. My lats are fired up. My shoulder's in good position, and I'm pressing straight up. Also on that press, right, let's go back to the legs for a second. Now you'll see power lifters get into a big arc here, where we're arching the chest forward. That's a way that a power lifter in competition is going to reduce the travel path of the bar, right? So if I don't have a very good arch, but some people do, and they are able to decrease the amount of distance that they have to move the bar. That's fine for competition. If we're just working with Gen Pop and working on getting stronger, I don't emphasize or even cue the arch. What I do cue is foot drive, right? So what we want to think about is as we pull down, as we're going to press the bar off the chest, I'm going to drive my feet into the floor, right? So my power from my legs is coming up and then driving into the bench, right? So I'm not pushing straight back. I'm kind of creating this power of arc going from my feet, and it's driving my shoulders into the bench, right? Keep your butt down. You want to keep your butt in contact with the bench, but get those legs fired up, and you should feel a little bit more power and stability in your press. So let's give those points a try. Hit us up with questions, and we'll see you next week.